A lot of self-talk is about what I should do, what I need to do, what I did, what I have to decide to do. And this is about everything. Practice, meditation, life choices, work choices, relationship choices. If you just take inventory for a moment or a few minutes, you'll notice that thoughts are laden with this sense of doership, that there's someone here called you, feels like you, if you're thoroughly identified with those thoughts, and there is a choice to make or multiple choices to make, and there are consequences for the choices, and we're sort of obsessed with this. I say this because I hear it from people who ask questions pretty frequently. Now, to some degree, this is not something I point out because so much of thought really is interwoven with this sense of doing. So to be overly direct about it, to be overly dismissive of people's thought streams, internal narratives, and so forth, sometimes can be counterproductive. It can be unsettling or cause defense mechanisms to come up. But other times, when people seem open to it, or they're also aware of it themselves, and yet they still kind of get stuck in it here and there, then I really try to help them dig through this to see that none of that is really happening. There's no big decision to make. Not in the way the mind is constructing it. It's really just a distraction in the moment. There's no perfect practice. If you're thinking about a perfect practice, if you're obsessing about which practice is right and which one's wrong, and taken by philosophical concerns about awakening in Buddhism and realization, and inclined to argue about it, even if just internally, often externally, online, and so forth, you really got to ask yourself why. What is all of that about? It's about doership. It's essentially saying I'm making the right choices, you're making the wrong choices, or there are better and worse ways to do this and that, better and worse ways to practice, and so forth. Now, of course, this doesn't just apply to practice. As I said, it applies to doing the right thing, being the right person. Even the very mundane seeming choices that the mind will construct. Oh, I decided to do this. Often it'll say that after you're already doing it. You stand up to walk across the room to whatever, make a sandwich, or grab a drink, or whatever. The mind will construct a thought that says, okay, I decided to do this because that's X, Y, Z. And then you may suddenly start thinking of a narrative about some similar situation that happened recently, and, yada, yada. The mind's off to the races. But my point is, if you just catch these thoughts before they get traction, before you're identified with them, before you're believing this whole thought stream about what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what other people should or shouldn't do, what's right and what's wrong, what's the better, what's the worse, what's the right approach, what's the wrong approach, all of it. You can just cut off that mind road, and realize like none of that even exists. It doesn't exist. It's just a bunch of yakety yak of the mind. It's a bunch of old reflections. It's not real. It's not real. Agency, doership, right and wrong, good and bad, better and worse. Just let them go. Let all the preferences go. Let all the opinions go. They're not helping you. They're not doing what they seem to be saying they're doing. They're simply a distraction. It's just like a magnet pulling attention into the mind. That's all it is. Let what is be revealed simply right now. You don't need anything more. You don't need anything more than this simplicity. It's available through 5 sense gates all the time. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about what awareness is or consciousness is or presence is or self is or no self is or duality or non-duality or who you believe and who you don't and how uncompromising of videos you like to watch. Doesn't matter. Thoughts. None of that exists. That which is not conditioned by mind is so simple, so immediate, so pervasive. It shows you everything that needs to be shown. It demonstrates living truth. It demonstrates Buddha Dharma. It demonstrates non-dual clarity, moment to moment to moment. So at some point you'll have to commit to that. Why not right now? So cut off the mind road. Cut off the doer at the knees. Do it enough times, do it for long enough, and you will see once and for all it was never happening anyway. A reflection of reality cannot control or influence reality. And it can't mitigate the effects of reality either. So let go of those paradigms, philosophies, views, and let what is simply reveal itself.